Hey guys, how is everyone? It has been insane. I don't even know what to think about the crazy right now. Over at Crazy Inc., we're trying. Um, I think everyone's doing the best they can with an awful situation. I'm hoping that I'm right and that in a couple of months we're going to have a big book boom. We're going to have a ton of books, but right now authors are just missing in action and everybody's kind of just trying to get through, and that's, I guess you expect that. It has been hectic here too. One great news is that I finally got new storage. I'm back to being able to private message. I'm back to being able to get videos up onto YouTube, so all that's good. I took the time to get my technology situated. About every 6 months, I seem to like literally fall apart. I lose my storage space. It's just an ongoing issue. The one good thing is that we had a huge file crash a while back, and that got me really like in the habit of daily backups, and I do that every day now. So that's been great. And so everything was backed up. It was just a matter of getting everything on new pages. And Facebook's been a disaster. I haven't been able to private message, just a lot. But here we are, in pretty much a quarantine situation everywhere. Can't even recycle at the dump because then people will have to touch stuff. So it's been hectic, and I've been actually taking a notebook around because I can see a ton of dystopian type books that will come out of this. Story ideas everywhere, even in this. So that's awesome. Today, I want to talk about words, how to get your best words out there. Someone had left a comment that that was a video they'd like to see. And so I thought, wow, I could do 10 videos on that. That's an easy one, but an important one. And I think sometimes you get so caught up in the madness of the marketing and the networking and what publisher do I want? Do I want to self-publish, cover design, all those things that I think we forget that the number one thing that matters is the quality of those words. And for me, that's sort of just like instinctual now. Having been a journalist for so many years, I got trained on daily deadlines and how to edit and self-edit your work quickly. You could not hand not well written or article with squiggly red lines to my editors. They did not tolerate that. And so I learned real fast. You've got to learn to not only write quickly and concisely, but to get those words quality fast. And I understand that not everyone likes my whole fast model. I get that. Most people hate it, actually. But that's okay. This is just how I do things. So as far as getting those words out there, getting them out there fast and making sure they're quality words, I have a couple of tricks. Number one, I never ever turn in or send to editors anything that I haven't read over at least 3 times. And I also listen to the books. I don't just read them, I listen. So what I do, this is my typical process. I write that first draft, I set it aside for a week. I literally will write in my daybook, go back to such and such a title. That following week, I'm working on a whole new whip. I'm not even thinking about it. Week 2, I go back to the original draft. I reread the draft, make it better, find the little plot holes. I'm kind of reading for content, like a content edit. This character's name, are all the names spelt right? I'm running checks for things I know I commonly do. Like there are certain words I'll use too often. I'm horrible for so. I will literally run a check for find on the word so. Another one, but, comma, I will do a find check and I'll get rid of half of those right off the bat. Another thing that I'll do after the whole content edit, I will go back through and zoom out on the document to see my chapter lengths. There are times when I'll write a 5,000 word chapter and another chapter is 1,000 words. And I personally don't like that as a reader. So I will find ways to break up the story better. Then I take that same book, I put it away again. I go back to the other book that I was working on or even a new whip. I tend to write 3 books at a time. But let's pretend for the sake of this, I only have 2. So I'll go back to the other one that I was working on, forgetting about book 1. Work on that for a week, just normal writing. Boom, another week passes. I go back to book 1 and then This time I'm doing it more for a grammar type review. I'm chasing the little squiggly lines. I'm running it through Grammarly, which I don't even like. Grammarly, I can't even say it. I don't recommend it. I know some authors who live by it. I also know authors who call that self-editing to run it through that program. I do it because it will find things here and there. Like I'm horrible for fragmented sentences. I write very choppy, like, so it'll pick those up and I'll fix those. Then I'm really looking at the whole thing for grammar. There are certain things I know I don't do right grammatically. And I have a close relationship with the 3 people who edit my work. I know what I can trust them to pick up on for me, and I know what I need to find myself. For example, dashes, I don't know when to put a dash. I've been told 100 times, and I still, dash versus hyphen to me, it's like it doesn't sink in. So sometimes I'll even mark those and say in the comments on my document for an editor, not sure how to handle this, and they'll look at it again. But overall, I really just trust them because they know me and they know my weaknesses. So in that way, I'm pretty reliant on my editors, but I'm not relying on my editors for 90% of what I do. By the time my editors get my work, it's very polished. Nobody can edit themselves because your brain knows what you want that sentence to say. So no one is capable of saying, well, okay, just figure it out. Like, editors cannot do the guessing for you, and your editor's not going to like you or want to edit you if you don't go through this process. So 3rd round, I will go through and literally just work on polish. Again, put it away for a week, go back to the other whip. At this point, the other whip is almost a first draft because I've had 3 weeks on it. And most of my books are about 25,000 words. They're novellas. So in 3 weeks, I've definitely got a novella. That book is now a first draft. I'm going back to book 1 on the 4th round, and I'm listening to the book. You would be amazed when you hear it read. You can tell what sentences don't read well. They're like too long, or they're just, the way that the modifiers are in there are just off. Another round, I will literally screen for adjectives and adverbs and make sure that I'm not repeating the same adjectives, because I tend to do that a lot. And then I'm not using adverbs at all. I will get rid of my adverbs, like bye. Here and there I'll put them, but so rarely. Like, I mean, adverbs are just not good. It's the first way to know that you're not writing in the right voice, that you're not, it's just passive voice alert. So basically I will get rid of those as well. Once in a while, if I'm not confident about a book, I will take the book and say to an editor, look, I know I have holes. There's something about this that doesn't feel finished. And I will have them, as a beta reader, tell me where to fill in the holes. It could be adding chapters, all of that. Normally now, in the old days, I used to live by beta readers. I don't do that anymore. It slows me down and it makes me doubt myself. I'm at a place where I'm pretty confident in my writing. Do I think every book is great? No, I don't. But I think that every book ends up the way that I want it to be and the way that I saw that book. I'm not one to just go through editors' changes and hit accept all. No way. I go through every single change and I decide, and I will reject a change if I don't believe that it fits the voice or the character or the way I want the dialogue. Something being grammatically correct doesn't mean that it fits for that character. You know, my characters are generally pretty gritty, and they're going to say ain't. They're going to say y'all instead of you all or everyone. And those are things that are important to me, and I want to make sure that stay authentic to my voice. So at that point, once I've gone through it 3 or 4 times, run it through Grammarly and listen to it, I will then send it to edits. With edits, again, I go through all the changes. I never hit accept all, and, you know, correct the things that I think need to be corrected. I'm really fortunate, and I swear, like, the number one key thing is you need an editor that knows your work, knows your weaknesses, because they will be on the lookout for those things, and that also understands your voice. My voice is not like a lot of people's voices in writing. I write in present tense quite frequently, and that's not common. I also tend to prefer first person. Lately, I've been writing third person, okay. Third person past tense. And that's totally new and different for me. And the reason I'm doing that is to challenge myself. I also have plans for some of these books I'm working on that are going to require those voices, so I'm practicing it. So yeah, those are my main suggestions on clean, good words. You want to put that book away. Now, if you're not planning on writing a ton of books in a short period of time, put it away for 6 months. I will pull out books that are 6 months old, even a year old, and go, really? I wrote that and I thought that was okay. Because 6 months, it looks totally different than it did 2 weeks ago. Once you forget, the story is the best time in the world to self-edit it. But if you don't have the time to forget the story, that's the method that I use. I used to have so many books stockpiled. I don't have that anymore. So I don't have the luxury of that 6-month waiting period. If you do, use it, because you will find things that you never thought, because you're going to read it 6 months later as a reader. You're not going to be reading it as the author anymore. And that's ideally what you want, because you will be able to see as a reader objectively, this is what's wrong with this book. This is how I can fix it up. So there you go. That's my thoughts on how to get a cleanish manuscript to an editor, which will make them love you and save you so much work in the revision stage of this. And that's really the best thing I can suggest. So thank you to the person that asked that question. That it's funny how quickly I forget that, yeah, we need to talk about the words too. It's not all the marketing. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're writing well. I hope you're reading, and kind of trying to get the silver lining out of this quarantine thing. I will talk to you again soon. Until next time, peace, love, books, and crazy.